Roxella TV. Roxella TV. Roxella TV. Roxella TV. Roxella TV.
It was something that just evolved. Like, I didn't consciously decide that I was going to have longer tracks. It was just instinct and feel, you know. But I remember when we did Field Day, my second album, and Karen Berg, my A&R person from Warner Brothers, she came in to listen to the mixes, and there was one song on this first side of the album which was 4 minutes long, and she was like, wow! You know, she was surprised that we broke the 3-minute barrier. But anyway.
If we were able to go into your bedroom back when you were 15 or 16, what records would we find in your collection that had the most wear and tear?
When I bought an album when I was in 10th grade called Bo Diddley's 16 All-Time Greatest Hits, and that's the one that would have the most wear and tear. Not only that, but you know, I wrote my name on the back of it about 50 times. Whenever I had a girlfriend, I'd write her name on it, and then when she wasn't my girlfriend anymore, I'd cross that out, put the next one, you know what I mean? Like that was, and I would stare at the album too, because I like the pictures of him with the funny looking Gretsch guitars. That's the one. And that record now, I still have the record, but it skips when it plays because I played it so much. First big time rock and roll group I ever saw was Gary Lewis and the Playboys at the Michigan State Fair, 1966, I think it was. I'm not 100% sure what year, but I met Jim Keltner, you know, and I told him that I'd seen the band around that time, and I said, was that you? And he said, yeah, that was me. But no, I don't think it was. I think it was a guy named Jimmy Karstein, because I looked at a picture. Anyway, I saw them at the State Fair, and I liked their records at the time, and I thought they were a gas. You know, they were really good. They had a great lead guitar player named Tommy Triplehorn was his name. I don't know if he's still alive or what, but he was like kind of a James Burton disciple, and they're really a good band. Gary Lewis was really funny, like really a good entertainer, you know. But you know, it wasn't any kind of epiphany or anything, if that's what you're asking me. Like, but I just happened to see them, you know, and I thought they were cool.
Well, you talked about you started writing in earnest in '79 and '80, and your fantastic first record came out in '82. What led up to that, and how did you break through where most people fail, getting to someone who's actually going to listen to your music and consider it?
Let me see. I left the Detroit area 1977. Just decided to clear out, and well, actually, it was like real spontaneous. I just happened to run in to this guy one day that I went to high school with, and I hadn't seen him for a couple of years. And we were good friends in high school, and I said, hey, Ron, man, what's happening? Where you been? I haven't seen you in a while. And he proceeded to explain to me that he'd moved out to the West Coast, and he was living in Los Angeles for part of the year, and then for the other part of the year, he was up in Alaska playing in a bar band, you know, for pipeline workers and stuff. And I'm like, oh, how about that? And then he said, oh, by the way, our guitar player just quit. You know, we're looking for somebody else. And I said, when are you going back? And he said, oh, 3 weeks. I said, okay, I'll go with you. And if I hadn't run into him that day, I don't know, if would I be sitting here right now? I don't know. But it was just like a fluke that I ran into this guy. But all it took was him just giving me a chance, a lifeline to get out of there. And I went, you know, I left. And so I came out here to Los Angeles. No game plan, you know, like I had a reel of tape with some songs on it that I'd written, but they were, you know, nothing. And I just had no idea really, but I just went out into the world is what I did. That's really what I did. I just was like, I went out into the world, and I just kind of got on this path. And I didn't get the gig with my friend's band. We had a couple rehearsals. And in fact, the rehearsal studio was the space that later became the Mask, you know, the legendary Mask, right? Brendan Mullen ran the rehearsal space. Anyway, I didn't get that gig, but the singer of the band, he put me onto this other band that needed a guitar player, and it wasn't like I didn't have to audition. I just had to show up for this. but to get this gig, I had to drive from here to Elko, Nevada. That's where the band was. They were on the road in the middle of, traveling around the West playing. So I went there, met them, played with them that night. There was country music. They were a country band. So I did that for 7 months, I think. And then went all over the West. Like I'd never been west of the Mississippi until until I came out to LA with my friend. Did that for a while, and then while I was out there traveling with them, I saw a classified ad in Rolling Stone, open auditions for Beatlemania. So I called up the 212 number. I said, "Can I send a tape and a picture?" And they said, "Sure." So I got back to the Detroit area for half a minute after that trip, and I got married to my wife, who I'm still married to, and sent in the package to Beatlemania. And anyway, a couple months later, I got hired as an understudy. So it's kind of funny in that I uprooted myself from the Detroit area and headed west. And I thought I would stay here, but I wound up on the East Coast instead. It was just all, I don't know, just something larger, forces beyond my control, the hand of fate or whatever. And then I got to New York, and I don't know, it just sort of to kind of, I was just putting one foot in front of the other, and things were formulating in my mind, and I wound up writing the songs that I did for my first album, formed my little trio with my brother in New York. I just wanted, I saw what the New York scene was, and just immediately wanted to be part of it. And once I quit Beatlemania in February of 1980, then we just stuck our foot out the front door, and off we went,
Rock Salad TV, 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 Rock Salad TV.